Okay, welcome back for the next one in the journey here. We've jumped through some rock, some David Bowie, the Chameleon, the grandfathers of progressive rock, King Crimson, the bluegrass of Alison Krauss, sort of a newgrass era. And now we're going to jump into what hit me in the fall of 1993 in a Colorado State listening room, headphones, threw on an album. And I think it had a compilation, had some Ray Charles on there, I think I heard. And then I think the next song was the one that solidified me into jazz exploration. So I was in, jazz studies for a couple of years, but I heard mostly guitar players, Wes Montgomery and Kenny Burrell and Grant Green and some of the standards. And I liked them, but it wasn't something that really grabbed me. Maybe the rhythm of it wasn't something, so I don't know. But I was looking for something else. But this one, solidified it. This one I started searching a lot more intently. Recorded April 20, 1967 on his album Occupation Groovin'. First jazz that I was 100% hooked into. The groove opened me up to all the jazz, and that was Eddie Harris. Tenor saxophone, Selmer Baritone, Jody Christian on piano, Melvin Jackson bass, Richard Smith on drums, and that recording is Listen Here. Syncopation is the key here. Tambourine. Get Okay, I just want to say, like I said before, so I loved, as a guitar player though, I needed to hear the rhythm. I was always the drummer, always the rhythm that I was reacting to the most. And so this one, it's the steady, it's the quarter notes, it's the tambourines hitting on the half notes, the cymbals or hi-hat hitting on the quarter notes, and then you got the percussion or whatever. I don't know what that thing's called. It's like little So yeah, it's the rhythm. It's hypnotic. It's like driving, and you don't. There's not a huge dynamic range here. That's what's beauty about it. Like it goes on for 8 minutes, or no, 9 minutes, 7 minutes plus, and it's just this steady. It's almost like you're in the coal mine. That thing's on the tracks, and it's just riding. Doesn't speed up, doesn't slow down, and lastly, yeah, his call and response. Where I feel like whether he's doing it in recording or he's doing it, even live, it's had a huge impact on me. The idea that you could pretend to almost be two instruments and have a sort of a conversation with yourself. So the call and response, yeah, I was like, oh, it is just about, it's just saying stuff. He's just saying stuff, and he doesn't do a lot of dynamic. He's not dropping down and getting bigger. It's like a constant sweet spot. He's in the sweet spot the whole time, and that's hard to do. So that's why he really maintains, the phrasing that he does and everything. It's sort of have this elongated but consistent just groove and soul, and it's a beautiful thing. Kick it back a couple. All right, I'm just going to pause it. So I love the I don't want to say simplicity of that piano, but it's very it's wonderful to hear players who hold back, who limit themselves to say, I'm going to keep it here, but I'm gonna make changes. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna do expansions, but it's not gonna be with this beginning that's gonna build up and have this giant peak and climax and then come back down. It's I'm gonna say stuff. I'm gonna make these little alterations and I'm gonna keep it interesting, but I'm gonna keep it subdued and within the linear sort of groove that they have going on, and that's I love that. It's a skill in of its own. It's not easy to do by any means. I want to say as we listen to it in this last part, because this is something that I never really, and I also forgot to mention Ray Barretto, Joe Wolitz on percussion. Obviously, a huge part of this, the popularity of this, the groove, is the percussion. I never knew what Eddie was doing with his horn and how he was getting that sound. Obviously, he sounds very different from almost every other horn player that you may have ever listened to. From Charlie Parker to Sonny Rollins to Dexter Gordon to John Coltrane. Right? He's got it's got this almost synthetic sound to it, which it was. You can certainly hear some Eddie Harris without this. But in 1966, I just want to mention this quick little tidbit. So the Veritone was an electrical amplification system that was also the first method by which effects such as octave doubling and delay were applied to the saxophone. Harris was the first adopter of this technology both live and in records, with Sonny Stitt following suit the same year. Although it became commercially available in 1967, sold by Selmer as a package deal with a specifically modified Mark VI, the Veritone itself was not a commercial success. Maestro, which I'll show in a picture, had the Maestro was the electronic synth system for saxophone and other woodwinds. It was a woodwind synthesizer that would add a jazz tone, had a fuzz tone, would have a cello, tuba, bass sax, bass clarinet, bassoon, French horn, and oboe, which could be added to your sound, either octave or double, sort of unison, harmonized with that. What you're hearing, I don't know which setting he's using, but you can hear the sort of secondary sound it's separate from, it's not mixed, enmeshed. You can hear his sound, but you can also hear another sound going on very close to it. Let's keep going as he does this. It's a great hookup. And that was Eddie Harris, Listen Here. Heard that and immediately it was like, I need to hear more. some whatever that is, soul jazz, you can call it. Yeah, it's a vamp, you know. It left him a great canvas, and I realized that's what I was, you know, something that I desired. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's where you can sort of, you know, speak a little bit more freely, a little bit more vibrant, and sort of build up the things, versus a lot of the sort of, you know, 50s jazz, you know, it was very concrete, things you had to work within. Anyway, after Eddie, once I went to the library, started coming home with countless jazz records, Monk and Mingus, and he originated several combinations of instruments, including reed trumpet, saxophone, tenor and trombone mouthpiece, a guitar organ, holding a U.S. patent for a reed mouthpiece for the trumpet, cornet, trombone, and flugelhorn. He also worked with the electric baritone saxophone, which added a sub-octave as well as affecting timbre and tone of the saxophone. He developed the Eddie Harris attachment, a wind synthesizer which enabled sax players to play in 5-part harmony. He later began using a clarinet double barrel joint in between the neck and body of his instrument, causing the tenor sax to sound like a bass clarinet. He was one of the first people to amplify the sax by placing the mic in the mouthpiece instead of the bell of the horn. And then finally, this album, our single, got to number 45 in the Hot 10, and the album it made from number 2 in the R&B album charts. I found such value in all these different styles that I thought they could be, you know, you could take different things from them to benefit any style, no matter what you were. Playing classical music, guitar was great for fingerstyle, acoustic fingerstyle. So things like that. Anyway, this is the 4th chapter. So we got through classic rock, progressive rock, bluegrass, and jazz, soul jazz. So now we're going to jump on to a different one. I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know what you think about the material. If you'd love to hear any different, love to hear what artists, you know, inspired you and how that affected your understanding of music, your evolution, how it changed the nature of your path. And I appreciate it. And we will see you back for the next one. And I look forward to this, and have a great one.